Breaking on NBC Boston tonight, team coverage bringing you new information about Hurricane Maria and now Tropical Storm Jose.
I'm meteorologist Pete Bouchard leading our early warning weather coverage and breaking down the models just into the Weather Center only moments ago.
And our team coverage doesn't stop there. I'm meteorologist Chris Gloninger live in West Yarmouth with our exclusive NBC Boston Storm Ranger as it tracks Jose's rain bands minute by minute.
Also, Hurricane Maria only hours away from hitting Puerto Rico. What's being done tonight before the Category 5 storm makes landfall? And a powerful earthquake shakes central Mexico. New images and information into the newsroom while crews continue to search the rubble for survivors. NBC Boston Tonight starts right now.
And good evening, everyone. I'm Phil Lipoff.
And I'm JC Monahan in for Shannon Malaire. Weather is tonight's biggest story. As you can see, Jose still strong, but just downgraded to a tropical storm.
Also, Hurricane Maria is barreling towards Puerto Rico right now, and a deadly earthquake in Mexico. We start with our team coverage on Jose. Meteorologist Chris Gloninger and Perry Russum will join us live in just a minute.
First, meteorologist Pete Bouchard is in studio with new information. Pete?
JC, yeah, it's not much of a storm right now as it's weakened to a tropical storm. It is officially south of Nantucket. We've seen some effects. We've seen some rain bands, but much ado about nothing all this afternoon. I think the biggest wave of wind and rain will be overnight tonight and into tomorrow morning. So winds down to 70 miles an hour as it peels north and east. Maybe some 60-mile-per-hour wind speeds with this as it's far offshore. Look how removed this is from Boston and even Nantucket for that matter. But still, we're right on the edge of it, so we will be getting some effects on the Cape and the Islands, predominantly there. And this otherwise would be treated as a moderate nor'easter on the Cape and a very weak nor'easter with just a blustery day elsewhere, greater Boston and points north. Because it has a name, we give it a title, and we kind of talk more about it in depth here. Heaviest rain tonight and tomorrow morning, gusts 30 to 50 miles an hour, predominantly 50 out on the Cape and the Islands, 30 in Boston. And it looks like coastal flooding a threat through midnight and noon tide cycles. Jose will stagger and stall offshore. We'll be back with more on him and Maria ahead.
All right, Pete, thank you. Let's get to meteorologist Chris Gloninger, who is with our NBC Boston Storm Ranger in West Yarmouth.
Chris, you've been tracking Jose with the only mobile Doppler radar in the region, and although Jose has been downgraded, still some concerns where you are.
JC, Phil, with the multiple high tide cycles, the onshore wind, erosion is going to be a big problem. But we have seen some showers, and the winds have been picking up occasional gusts of 25 miles per hour. As I mentioned, though, the seashore is expecting a significant erosion over the coming days, and this is what we found out about that. We visited the Cape Cod National Seashore. They're watching Jose closely, since on average they lose 3 feet of beach per year.
Our three primary concerns would be high winds, high waves or heavy surf, and then heavy rainstorm.
The National Seashore's Karst Hogeman says heavy rain is what quickly eroded the Beachcomber parking lot this summer. But Jose's biggest threat is erosion.
The first high tide, a lot of the sand on the beach will get removed as part of that heavy wave action. And then the next high tide, there's a lot of that sand is already gone, so then it will end up affecting the bluff.
Once the sand is removed, the bluffs take the blows from the heavy surf, hastening the erosion. At Nauset Beach, the beach house will be demolished before the ocean claims it. Already, fences and trees have fallen victim to erosion, and this house is teetering on the edge. The unpredictability of the bluffs make them dangerous.
At the top of the bluff or at the bottom of the bluff, because they can collapse any minute.
We also have our exclusive network of Weather Underground sites showing the wind speeds, the wind gusts already to 35 miles per hour out on Nantucket. Those winds will be increasing. That band you see just north of Willow Street, well, that moved through a short time ago and brought us a heavy downpour mixed down some 30-mile-per-hour wind gusts. That's what I'm expecting to continue overnight. Back here live, we've dried back out. But as Pete mentioned, we're expecting some of that heaviest rain and wind gust activity to come overnight and into early tomorrow morning. Reporting in West Yarmouth, meteorologist Chris Gloninger, NBC Boston.
All right, Chris, thank you. Now let's get you quickly over to Perry Russum, who joins us live tonight from Nantucket. Last night, Perry, the main focus was getting boats out of the water. What is the main focus tonight?
Phil, the focus is what else does this storm have left in its tank? We are expecting some minor flooding tonight, but all we have are just puddles caused by rain. As night falls on Nantucket, the wind is light and the sprinkles are sparse.
Just seems like a regular night, kind of calm, quiet, a little windy, not much of a storm.
This morning, storm managers were preparing for the possibility of feet of water, but we haven't seen that yet.
We're basically shutting down for an entire season and then reopening again for the weekend. So it takes a toll on the business, definitely does.
Just the threat of a major storm has turned tourists away, keeping crucial customers out of harborside stores.
You are welcome. I'm hoping that it clears by Friday so we can get all the people, all the foot traffic for weddings and everyone else who wants to come to the island this coming weekend.
Well, as a photographer, I'm looking forward to this.
On the southern part of the island, the strong surf has provided a new landscape for Sanchez Saunders.
As you can see, the waves are really beautiful. They're big.
And today, ferry service was limited, non-existent later on in the day. We'll have to see if that changes tomorrow. We're live on Nantucket. Perry Russum, NBC Boston.
Perry, thank you, and we invite you to stay with NBC Boston as we continue our team coverage of Jose. You can also get forecasts anytime on our NBC Boston mobile news app or NBCBoston.com.
Developing tonight, we are tracking Hurricane Maria, set to hit Puerto Rico sometime tomorrow morning. Right now, hundreds are seeking shelter in San Juan, hoping to ride out the Category 5 storm in safety. Christina Navarrete from our partners at Telemundo has more from the Convention Center in San Juan.
And here at the Puerto Rico Convention Center in Miramar, they have informed us that they will only be opening its doors and servicing those people who have serious health needs. As you can remember, this convention center at some point was the place, one of the places that opened its doors to those refugees fleeing the Virgin Islands after they were seriously impacted by Hurricane Irma. I'll tell you a little bit about this center. Well, it's operated with electric energy, but it has 3 backup plants that have the capacity to operate on its own at 100% efficiency for a period of a whole month. And inside the building, we also know that the center will be housed to 40 federal government employees and 40 members of the National Guard, along with personnel that work already at this center. So it's definitely something good to hear that they will be getting that help, these people that need special attention because of medical conditions, that they'll be able to count on a center like this to be able to give them that help they need. This is all the information I have from San Juan. I'm Cristina Navarrete.
Christina, thank you. President Trump just tweeting out Puerto Rico being hit hard by new monster hurricane. Be careful. Our hearts are with you. We'll be there to help. Now, I want to show you video of the first bands of Maria hitting Puerto Rico, and they have yet to see anything. They're only at tropical storm level winds. The hurricane force winds have not hit the island just yet, but I know Pete Bouchard, you're watching that very carefully as this is a Category 5. This is a monster storm.
It is. It's the biggest storm ever to hit Puerto Rico. Category 5 headed right for the eastern and southeastern part of the island, right over St. Croix right now. And the eye, I believe, is passing over the island of St. Croix. We've lost the weather observation there, but at last check, it was up to 90 miles per hour before it was blown away. 175 mile per hour winds, gusts to 215, headed north and west over Puerto Rico as a Category 5 hurricane, and then into the open Atlantic, brushing by the Turks and Caicos. Oh no, a turn toward the north. We've seen this before with Jose. It looks like it'll thread the needle between Jacksonville and Bermuda. We'll mind this very carefully next week. We'll have more on this ahead in weather, and also a look at a pretty decent weekend in the meantime. That's ahead. JC.
Pete, thank you for live coverage of Hurricane Maria. Tune in to the Today Show. That's tomorrow morning at 7 right here on NBC Boston. And happening tomorrow morning, the Coast Guard will resume searching for a 72-year-old kayaker who didn't return from a trip on the Saugus River today.
NBC Boston's Michael Rosenfield joins us live from Saugus after speaking with the missing man's son. Michael?
Phil, tonight the search for this missing kayaker has now been suspended for the evening. He set out this morning here on the Saugus River and never came back.
He's in distress. He's missing.
Family members of Craig Dustin Sr. frantic after he set off on the Saugus River to go kayaking Tuesday morning. He was supposed to be back about 3 hours later, but never showed.
We knew right away that something wasn't right. Just keep him in your thoughts and prayers. If you can help in any way, please, my father needs your help.
The 72-year-old launched from Tom's Bait and Tackle, where he's a regular customer and where his vehicle was still located.
But the guys seen him going out, I guess even the guys that worked the bridge yelled down to him, say, hey, It's a tough day, you know, rough day to be going out fishing. I guess something didn't hear him, he just kept rolling out.
The shop's owner, who's also the Saugus harbor master, says it was windy, foggy, and rainy on the water.
Conditions out there weren't favorable for any type of boating.
The Coast Guard and several first responders went searching for hours, but so far, no sign.
He's a good man, you know. We just want him back safe and sound.
Mr. Dustin does usually wear a life jacket, and he carries a cell phone with him out on the water. The search will resume first thing tomorrow morning. Live in Saugus tonight, Michael Rosenfield, NBC Boston.
Michael, thank you. Developing tonight, as you can see here in our heat map, which tracks real-time conversations happening online. Thousands of people are talking about the earthquake that hit central Mexico. The death toll, we've just learned, has risen to at least 149 people so far tonight. The videos that we are seeing are heartbreaking. Entire buildings collapsed while the earth shook below, and now emergency crews are going through the rubble searching for anyone who still might be trapped. NBC Boston's Audrey Asistio joins us here in studio with more on the rescue effort. Audrey?
Phil, tonight Mexico is in a state of emergency, a region in peril, now bracing for powerful aftershocks. A powerful 7.1 earthquake triggering a wave of panic in Mexico City. Thousands running for their lives. Screams filling the streets as buildings break apart. Plumes of dust rising from where structures used to stand. The epicenter near the Puebla state town of Rebozo, 76 miles southeast of Mexico City. Now, the desperate race for rescues. This man says they're trying to clear the streets so ambulances and firefighters can get through, removing debris from where many could still be buried alive. Bostonians who have family in Mexico City scrambling to hear from loved ones.
And thank God that they're okay. But it makes me very sad to see the news and to see everything that's been going on and all the people and families that have been affected. So I hope that everything gets better soon.
Consulate General of Mexico in Boston assuring people in our area Mexico is doing all it can to help injured survivors.
Health services will be open to everyone, regardless whether they are members or not, whether they have a social insurance or not.
Now, you can stay with NBC Boston for the very latest rescue efforts in Mexico. Just head to the NBC Boston mobile app or NBCBoston.com. Phil, JC.
Audrey, thank you. New on NBC Boston tonight, Max Kennedy in trouble with the law.
The major development in the disorderly conduct case against the 9th child of Robert and Ethel Kennedy.
Plus, weight lifted. How our NBC Boston Response team helped get this woman out of a year-long membership she says she never signed up for.
And then new at 11, banning the sale of marijuana. We are live in Milford, where voters are talking about their big decision. NBC Boston Tonight is back in 60 seconds.
Great at math.
Welcome back, everyone. The United Nations is taking stock after President Trump's first speech before the General Assembly. The president saying the deal to limit Iran's nuclear program is, quote, an embarrassment. Then he called the North Korean leader, Kim Jong-un, Rocket Man, and threatened to wipe that country off the map.
The United States has great strength and patience, but if it is forced to defend itself or its allies, we will have no choice but to totally destroy North Korea.
That moment was met with gasps all around the room. President Trump followed that up by telling allies and adversaries alike he would always put America first, and he expects other leaders to do the same for their countries. This is new at 11. The people of Milford vote to ban the sale of recreational marijuana in their town, one of the state's first communities to do so.
Our Chris Emma is live in Milford with reaction to the hotly contested vote. Chris?
JC and Phil, good evening to you. Yeah, it's been a point of contention here in Milford for months, but tonight the results are in and the voters have spoken. They have decided to ban the sale of recreational marijuana here in Milford. Voting began at 8 a.m. in Milford.
Thank you.
All through the day to when the polling stations close at 8 p.m. Residents voting in a special election on recreational marijuana. No to not ban the sale of recreational pot. Yes to ban it.
I just don't want it in Milford.
Scott Harrison says voting yes to ban the pot is an easy one for him.
I have 2 teenage kids, both in the schools. I'm also a member of the school committee here in town. My concern is really as it comes to the edibles. They look like candy. It's very difficult to tell the difference.
Back in November at the state level, Milford voted 51% in favor of recreational pot. Residents voting not to ban it say it's a jobs issue since 2 companies have already opened and since the Board of Selectmen changed the wording on the ballot.
That happened, like I said, over the summer with little debate, with little discussion, and we just feel that the entire process has lacked transparency.
And now the voters have spoken in Milford. On Tuesday, the voters said yes to ban the sale of recreational marijuana in Milford. And just a little bit ago, we did get the final numbers from that vote that happened this evening here from Town Hall in Milford. About 56% of the voters here, they voted yes to ban the sale of recreational pot. Reporting live from Milford, I'm Chris Emma, NBC Boston.
Chris, thank you. Disorderly conduct charges dropped against Matthew Kennedy. Kennedy, known as Max, is the 9th child of Robert and Ethel Kennedy. The charges result